Have you ever wondered about the man who has shaped Russia for over 2 decades? The man who went from a KGB agent to one of the most powerful leaders in the world? This is the story of Vladimir Putin, a journey filled with mystery, power, and controversy. Our story begins in Leningrad, now St. Petersburg, where a young Putin grew up in a communal apartment. He was a quiet, determined boy, drawn to the world of espionage from a young age. His dream was to join the KGB, the formidable security agency of the Soviet Union. He pursued this dream with relentless focus, studying law and eventually getting his foot in the door of the Secret Service. Putin's time as a KGB officer in East Germany was formative. He witnessed the collapse of the Berlin Wall and the subsequent fall of the Soviet Union, an event he would later call the greatest geopolitical catastrophe of the century. This experience instilled in him a deep sense of loss and a desire to restore Russia's strength and influence on the world stage. Returning to a chaotic post-Soviet Russia, Putin entered politics. He started in his hometown of St. Petersburg, quickly rising through the ranks. His quiet efficiency and loyalty caught the attention of President Boris Yeltsin. In a surprise move that shocked the world, Yeltsin appointed Putin as his successor. On New Year's Eve 1999, Vladimir Putin became the acting president of Russia. His initial years in power were marked by a crackdown on the oligarchs, who had amassed vast wealth and power during the 90s. He promised to bring order and stability to a country on the brink of collapse. The Russian economy, buoyed by rising oil prices, began to recover, and Putin's popularity soared. He was seen as the strong leader Russia needed. But as his grip on power tightened, a different side began to emerge. His government took control of major television networks. Critics were silenced, and political freedoms were curtailed. Events like the Second Chechen War and the Moscow theater hostage crisis showed his willingness to use decisive and often brutal force to achieve his objectives. Internationally, Putin sought to reassert Russia's position as a global power. He challenged the dominance of the United States, opposed NATO expansion, and used Russia's vast energy resources as a tool of foreign policy. The 2008 war in Georgia was a clear signal that Russia was ready to defend its interests in its near abroad. After serving 2 terms as president, Putin couldn't run again due to constitutional limits. So, in a carefully orchestrated move, he became prime minister while his close ally, Dmitry Medvedev, took the presidency. Many saw this as a way for Putin to maintain ultimate control, a tandemocracy, where he was still the one pulling the strings. In 2012, he returned to the presidency, this time for a newly extended 6-year term. His return was met with the largest protests Russia had seen in years. But Putin's response was firm, cracking down on dissent and passing laws that restricted public assembly and non-governmental organizations. The narrative of Russia as a besieged fortress, surrounded by enemies and in need of a strong hand, became central to his rule. The year 2014 was a turning point. Following a pro-Western revolution in Ukraine, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. This move was celebrated at home as a historic reunification, but condemned internationally, leading to sanctions and a new era of confrontation with the West. The subsequent conflict in eastern Ukraine further isolated Russia, cementing a new Cold War-like atmosphere. Putin's leadership style is often described as enigmatic. He cultivates an image of a strong, masculine leader, seen riding horses, practicing judo, and engaging in outdoor adventures. At the same time, he is a calculated and strategic political operator, a master of geopolitical chess who keeps his opponents guessing. Under his rule, Russia has projected its power far beyond its borders, from its military intervention in Syria to its alleged interference in foreign elections. He has overseen a significant modernization of the Russian military and has not shied away from using it to achieve his goals. From a young boy dreaming of spies to the master of the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin's story is the story of modern Russia itself. It's a tale of ambition, power, and the relentless pursuit of a vision to restore a nation's lost glory. His legacy is still being written, and how the world will remember him remains one of the great questions of our time. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the life of one of the world's most influential figures. If you found this documentary insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more stories that shape our world. We'll see you in the next one.